Let's hear it for Superstore, first time at Comic-Con. We have the stars and producers of Superstore, and I'm going to bring them out right now. So first off, executive producer Jonathan Green. Right behind him, executive producer Gabe Miller. And the creator and executive producer of Superstore, Justin Spitzer. All right, let's now introduce the cast of Superstore. First up, she's an icon, or in the words of Justine, a total badass bitch. She plays Sandra on the show, Kaliko Kawaii. I should add, newly minted cast member Kaliko as well. Congratulations. Next up, she can't drive right now because she has bees in her car. She plays Cheyenne on the show, Nicole Bloom. Next up, it's not his attitude. This is just a terrible job. Garrett on the show, Colton Dunn. All right, you're all turd people according to Mateo. It's Nico Santos. She'd like to meet your mother and shove you back inside of her. Dina Fox, Lauren Ash. Next up, embezzlement is when you put jewels on your jacket. It's Glenn Sturgis, Mark McKinney. All right, somebody's ready for the red carpet. Jonah Ben Feldman.
Boo.
All right, and finally, in season 4, sit on down, Ben, come on. Season 4, her name tag, she was Roz, Emily, Etta, Denise, Harriet, Louise, Mila, Tara, Gabriella, Louisa, Nola, Ruby, Sierra, Cindy, Joanna, Yemi, Lucia, Danny, Hope, Melanie B, Poot, Rowena, Adenike, Gloria, Dwendina, and Aylin, but we know her as Amy Sosa, America Ferrera. Producer and star of Superstore. Well, hello, gang. Welcome to Comic-Con.
Thanks.
First time out for Superstore. America, what do you make of this so far?
Crazy people. Oh.
In a good way. In a good way.
In a very good way. I see some cosplayers out there. I see a couple of these vests out there, especially in the front row. So gang, thanks for coming out here. First year at Comic-Con, but there's so much to talk about as a result because someone loves you. But as we head into season 5, let's kind of talk about season 4 and sort of everything that went down. In America, we'll start with you first because this was obviously a huge season for Amy. Talk about the decision to make her the manager and sort of put her in this boss position. How did that change for you and the sort of the decision to put her in that role?
Yeah, it's something that Justin and I have been talking about since day one is sort of, where is it all going for Amy? And for me, one of the most compelling things about playing this role, having had just come off of playing Betty Suarez on Ugly Betty, who was sort of this eternal optimist and, brought the sunshine wherever she went. I just loved that Amy doesn't care if you like her. And that's so liberating for a female character to sort of walk around and say, like, I don't need you to smile at me. Like, I'm just trying to get through the day. And she started in a place of really just trying to survive and a certain cute little panda-looking man came into her life. And
Why little? Why
and
is the little?
I didn't say your name.
You said little.
You're assuming I was talking about you.
You also did this to me.
Oh my God. And all of a sudden, like, ideas of, wanting more from her life started to pop up. And we talked about, how that would play in. And it is Jonah who kind of encourages her to start thinking about what else there would be. But of course, in Superstore fashion, for her to ask for that step up and power is going to come with all of the crazy challenges of having to manage people that she's had these long-time relationships with.
It's a bumpy ride, but nonetheless, I mean, ultimately, she's a little more competent than Glenn, I would say, right? No offense, Mark. But she...
I do a great job.
Don't do the voice.
I mean, Mark, this was an adjustment for Glenn as well. He did it for really good reasons, but nonetheless.
Completely great reasons. It was kind of like the only thing I think, it was brilliant to justify it. It said this is his last kid of 16, and he wants, and it's his first, biological child, and he's just not going to sacrifice the rest of his time at the store, and that was really sweet.
Yeah. And for the producers, what did this allow you in terms of new stories and opportunities and switching things up in season 4?
Well, I mean, we got to the end of season 3, and I think we'd sort of been remarkably static in terms of characters' lives changing, which I think is sort of part of this world. You work at a store like this forever, year after year. Amy says in the first episode, yesterday was the same as today, and I know that because, or something like that. You guys know.
You wrote it.
Something about days all being the same. And then we felt like we got to the end of season 3, and it was like, enough of that. Season 4 is the time of change. It's the time to mix things up, and for Amy to start growing, for all our characters to start growing in different ways. So we sort of knew that going in. It injects new fuel into the writer's room. All of a sudden, you have whole new dynamics to play with, a whole new series of stories you can tell. So it's great for us.
Right, yeah, we get to see Amy, surprised a little bit at how hard it can be to be the manager, even though she saw herself as like the most competent person in the store. It's still not easy when you actually have to be making those calls, but like the flip side of that too is really fun to get to see Glenn suddenly just one of the gang and not the manager anymore, and like trying really hard to fit in, even though he, the rest of them maybe don't see him yet as one of the gang.
And I like too that obviously workplace pay is a big red button issue right now, and you guys hit that head on as well. Amy's doing pretty well for herself right now. We even know how much she's making.
$109,000 with a bonus.
With a 10 grand bonus.
And perks.
And
if
perks.
you were paying attention.
Well, we'll learn about the perks eventually. Ben, I don't think I cringed more on television this season than the quinceañera episode.
Yeah.
I had to watch the entire episode with hands over my eyes. I had to pause it sometimes. I felt so bad for you, but you just kept stepping in it. It's, Jonah means so well, but he does just step in it every once in a while.
Yeah, for some reason, that's kind of my wheelhouse. I feel like one of you guys came up to me and you were like, that was like some of your best work on the show. And it's I think I really find a place on this show or any show if I'm playing a bumbling idiot who's just kind of screwing up left and right.
But what I will say about that one, yes, we have Jonah screw up a lot, but that one we kind of approached as this is Jonah's hero move. I mean, he's never been more heroic than he's already screwed up a bunch and put his foot in his mouth, and then he does this for Emma that makes him look even worse. I don't think he's ever had a more heroic moment in this series.
Yeah, no, it all came from a really great kind of at times altruistic place, which is what makes the awkwardness super easy to play, because I'm not intentionally trying to mess something up. I didn't make I made a bunch of stupid decisions, but the overall thing that I was trying to get done was something good, which ultimately leads to just a million different ways of falling apart.
And to be fair, Jonah has not cut his nipple off on this series.
Oh my God, with the nipple. There's
Do
an
it,
admin
do
thing.
it. Future seasons, perhaps. Well, let's talk about Jonah and Amy. There's debate online over what the hashtag cute couple name is. Is it Samosa or is it Jamie?
Yeah, have we not decided that yet?
So what's the
I
verdict
have
from
a
the
favorite.
crowd? Let's hear claps for Samosa. And how about Jamie?
Jamie's the easier one, but I feel like
Yeah.
samosa's a little more interesting.
And sounds delicious.
And it's also not some. Yeah, it's a food and not a person's name. You know, there's already a Jamie
Yeah.
out there somewhere.
Exactly. All right, so it's kind of half and half, though, it seems. So what's next for these crazy two kids? You know, there's hint of marriage. It seems like maybe there's going to be a debate down the road over children. Where?
I mean, there's going to be a lot more of the sex videos. The season opens, season 5 just is 23 minutes of sex.
Except those are all Jonah monologues.
Yeah, there's just, Jonah's the only one involved, yeah.
That's the digital
Don't
extension.
clap for that.
Pun intended.
You know, to Amy and Jonah's relationship, I loved that towards the end of this season, we kind of got back to some of the original dynamic of Amy and Jonah, which is ultimately that they're on different sides ideologically about life and morals and values sometimes. And they'd sort of been moving closer and closer together as they have this relationship. But this idea about the union that's coming at a time where finally Amy has some upward mobility in her life, something she never imagined, brings back that dynamic that was there in the pilot, which is that ultimately these are two people with very different life circumstances and very different ways of looking at life. And so I kind of love it when Amy and Jonah hate each other more than when they like each other. So I'm hoping that I get to hate him more this next season.
There'll be plenty of opportunities as Jonah steps in it yet
Nice to see
again.
you happy, you know?
Yeah, she was fine.
She was
Yeah,
happy. She was really happy, I think.
She was okay.
She was doing okay.
Well, Ben, what do you think about Jonah's endgame? I mean, obviously he still has his financial issue, and you know, what do the cards hold? Do you think ultimately for him?
I mean, that's a great question for the guys on this side of the table, but I think there's still a lot more to learn about Jonah. I think he definitely feels like he is from a different place than a lot of the other people in this show. Feels, or I guess a set of what. I think he comes from some sort of a place of privilege, and we haven't fully explored that.
You seem really comfortable talking about this.
I hate it. I hate the privilege thing, but that said, I think it's something that we're probably going to explore a little bit more, because Jonah does feel like the person who didn't necessarily need to be there, and is one of the people that chose it, that recognized this as a family, and a place where he finally fits in. And so in that regard, I think he is that character. So hopefully, you know, we're going to explore that a little more, where he came from, and what led him to choose this group of misfits.
Yeah. Well, for the producers, I mean, there's been no shortage of marriages and babies over the years. You know, these life moments. Is that something that you'll continue, or you know, is that sort of in the DNA of this show, and in sort of those big landmark moments?
We're running out of people to get pregnant. We've done a lot of pregnancies.
Working on Garrett. It's taking a little driving. Yeah, no, I
But
think
beyond
they will
that-
continue. It's you know, there's a lot of people working at the store, and people are always going through.
Coulter just woke up.
Oh.
He's like,
What?
I heard Garrett.
You were just scrolling on your phone, were you not, just now?
Yeah.
We'll get to you, Coulter.
You said
we'll get to you.
you're talking about Garrett getting pregnant?
The show's going to change, season 5.
It's
That's landmark. That is landmark. Well, let's talk about Dina, Lauren. So, yeah. We got some Dina fans in the house. I heard there's some cosplay out there as well.
Love it.
The birds. The birds. R.I.P.
Is anybody dressed as the birds?
Justice for the birds.
Portobello.
So what do you think she'll ever forgive Garrett, or what do you think of that relationship moving forward?
Well, I think it's beautiful that she got to get him back in the only way that would actually hurt him, and burning those shoes Remember how scared you were of those burning shoes?
You mean of the actual special effect?
Yeah.
Yes. That was a real fire.
It was a real fire, and I just remember Colton, who's always impossibly cool under all circumstances, was like, how close do we really need to be, though? Could I be another foot back? Why are we so close to the flames? It was amazing to watch. Anyway, I mean, I don't know, obviously, what the gentlemen at the end of the table have planned, but I don't think she would necessarily forgive him very easily. I mean, it was her entire life that's now literally flown the coop. Don't pardon the pun. So yeah, I think that obviously there's a lot of rage, and how hot she is in season 5. I mean, we'll figure it out. You know, is she 101? Is she 76? Like beautiful San Diego, California? Who knows?
Nice.
Who knows? Thanks, Marker. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. Well, Colton, on the flip side, for Garrett, you know, he ended up. I mean, he's always been sort of the surly and you know, has this contentious relationship with a lot of the folks there, but they really soured on him because of that. Once that was revealed.
Well, yes, and they should have. You know, murdering birds and then sleeping with the person whose birds you just murdered.
The same night.
The same night is not cool.
It's cold. It's pretty cold.
Hashtag not cool. But but the thing is that their relationship has always been contentious. So, you know, I feel like love can defeat everything. So, you know, I don't think that spark's gone between Garrett and Dina.
There is, I mean, there's a chemistry there. There's some sort of spark that I assume.
There was definitely a spark.
Yeah.
In his shoes.
And certainly, you know, sitting on the couch post-coital, Dina just chowing on a sandwich.
Oh, yeah.
We've never felt it more.
Yeah.
You know, Mark directed that episode, and he let me do a take where for a good 2 minutes, I just ate the sandwich in silence.
Yeah.
First of all, it was a delicious sandwich. Second of all, I thought that was a great bit.
It was a great bit.
It was a good bit.
Will that be on the DVD, or do we get the outtakes at some point of the sandwich?
It's its own episode.
What's that?
It's streaming on Hulu.
It's streaming on Hulu. Yeah, it's its own web series now. Dina's Food.
I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, directing, a number of you have directed. America, of course, as well. Ben, you've directed in the past episodes. Mark, you know, talk a little bit about that. What, you know, it's always sort of fun to be behind the camera and direct your co-stars and you know, yell demands at them. You know, what was the outcome this season of directing these episodes? America, what was it like for you?
Yeah, for me, I didn't think I could be more in awe of this group of people, but when you get behind the camera and watch this cast bring an already incredible, you're so grateful that the script is so funny and it's really hard to screw it up. So you're so grateful for that. But then you think it's your job as a director to make it work. And with this cast, it's your job to just sit back and not mess it up. And to get, it's such an incredible joy to get to sit back and watch every single one of these cast members just kill it. Like, everybody's such a pro. Everyone is so funny. And when I'm behind the camera, I get to laugh as much as I want without ruining all the takes, which is what I do every time I'm in front of camera. So it feels like it just feels like such a privilege to get to sit back and watch how these amazing talents think and craft and make something funny and then funnier again. And just when you think it can't get funnier, you do another take and it's amazing.
Yeah, there was kind of a moment at the end of your America's first episode, and then subsequently the other ones, where we're a pretty bitty group of people. We do a lot of bits. It's a lot of like joking around and nothing earnest whatsoever. And at the end of your first episode, you came up to everybody and you were like, it was no jokes, no anything. It was just like, hey, I just want to tell you, you were so great. It was just a joy to direct you. And I thought, wow, that was the first time America and I ever had a real conversation. But I can't believe she knows my name.
It's Ben, right? This one's Ben.
She keeps calling you Jonah.
She's been calling me Jonah for By the way, that's actually not a joke. America calls all of us by our character names.
That's not true.
Somebody back me up.
I did that one time.
It was twice. It was twice.
No,
It was twice.
No, it wasn't.
It was
season
one.
one.
She said, "Does anybody ever call you Dinah?" And I said, "Well, my name's Lauren, not Dina." So I don't know.
It was early
There was one time.
I was that committed to my character.
It's true. It's true.
But anyway,
It's
my
true.
point
Method,
is,
that's
I
method.
remember thinking like, what a grateful and genuine and earnest moment from her. And then when I directed, all of that made sense because you sit back and you watch these people go, and they're I mean, there's like some of the greatest improvers ever. Doing these incredible magical things on the camera. I was pointing behind you. And you're just blown away at how easy your job then becomes as a director because these people, they've got it.
Well, Mark, when you direct, do you do it in Glenn's voice, or do you have to like go back and forth? Because I would love to see that.
That is a brilliant idea. Why didn't I do that?
So next season.
Yeah, next season. Well, or maybe season now. I'll do it anytime you want. I had so much fun. I had so much fun directing this.
Mark's directing is all about the shoes, right? You
Yeah.
were in the right shoes.
Yeah,
for
literally,
The job.
I asked the crew, who, by the way, save our butts when we're directing, and they said, "Oh, you got to get these really great shoes. This is what you wear because the floors in these studios are cement and they'll throw at your back." And then, so I got these shoes, and when you put your feet in them, it's like walking around in fresh French bread. It was so nice. And then, so when my character went, because in the episode I directed, that's when Glenn stops being a manager and he becomes an employee. I begged for these shoes for wardrobe, and so now I have about 20 pairs of them. So it's really
Nice.
The perks of directing.
that perk. Yeah.
Well, Nico, let's talk about the season finale.
Why? What happened? Did something happen to Mateo?
I was telling these folks beforehand, I teared up at that finale, that final moment, seeing you in that ice mobile going away from everyone.
Ice Mobile makes it sound a little.
Yeah, as I said it, I was like,
The
that
ice
sounded
mobile.
way too cute.
Cool.
It is not cute at all, but nonetheless, it was stunning. It was heartbreaking. It was such a dramatic end to the season. Talk about that and how personal this was for you in doing this storyline.
It's extremely personal. You know, I'm an immigrant. I'm from the Philippines. I moved to. All right, my Filipinos in the house. Oh my God. There's so many of you out there. My gosh. Mabuhay. No, but I am, I'm from the Philippines. I moved to this country when I was 16. I think any immigrant who comes to this country also knows somebody who is undocumented. So doing this story, members of my own family were undocumented at some point in their lives. So doing this storyline was very, I don't know, it was very personal. It was very touching. It was very triggering. I remember reading the script at the table read. I mean, Justin had told me that's where the finale was going to go. And when we read the finale at the table read, I was kind of just like taken aback, and I closed the script and I looked over, and Lauren and America were just like a puddle.
And Nicole,
Yeah.
I have the picture. Nicole.
Yes. it was really hard. And then when we filming the episode was also very, very hard. That scene where Mateo was in the van and I was being carted away, and I could just see my entire Cloud9 family just sort of like in shock looking at me. But I remember doing a few takes where they had me say, it's gonna be all right, I'm gonna be okay. And people were just like sobbing, and we're just like, it was a really tough week to film.
No, I bet. And the question is now, where do we go from here? Obviously you guys can't give away too much, but this is clearly going to be, sort of to be continued in season 5. So.
Well, I'm here, so that's a good sign.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more of a question for.
Mateo is still on the show. This season the last few seasons we've been exploring, life as an undocumented person, and this will give us a little more. We'll be exploring what it's like going through the deportation process and kind of.
It can drag out for a while. Like, the reality of it is it doesn't happen right away. There's a lot of uncertainty, but you're living with this and trying to go about your daily life.
Could drag out approximately 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Listen,
Thankfully, I can pull off Orange, so it's gonna be fun.
Dark.
But I do like the fact that you're not gonna, just like sort of clean it up after a couple of episodes. You guys have always been, very sort of meticulous in showcasing these true stories and not afraid to walk into politics, social issues, and things like that, but not be preachy about it. You're very sort of balanced on it as well. Talk a little bit about that and how that's such a hallmark of Superstore.
Yeah, I think it comes from wanting it to be interesting for us. I think it's kind of boring to write preachy stuff, and it's boring to watch it as well. So we realize that we've become known for doing some of these social issue shows, but we've always limited ourselves. We try not every episode, not every other episode deals with something. And when we do deal with it, we don't say we have to explore all sides of it, but we don't pick a side to like teach a lesson. We never want to teach a lesson. That's like Saturday morning or after school stuff.
The more you know, do.
Exactly. So it just comes from a place of what's real. What would these characters face? They would occasionally face what happens when your boyfriend or girlfriend dumps you, or someone you know dies, or you get a raise, and sometimes you're dealing with much more serious issues. And when we do deal with it, it's just being sparing. It's introducing the idea, and then it's having fun with it, having lots of different people have different attitudes about it, going for the comedy, not going for something that's important. Because the moment you try to be funny and important at the same time, I think one of them has to give. But you hope you can do both by concentrating on the comedy and having this going on in the background.
Well, the other thing that you guys do effortlessly is representation. This is a cast that is, shout out to representation on this cast. Without, you don't like, again, you're not looking for accolades. It's just natural because this is naturally America. So, and America. So, no pun intended. But nonetheless, that's I think something that people really appreciate about this show as well is this looks like the United States. This is what a superstore would look like anywhere in America.
And I can't really truthfully claim all that much credit for it. You're always aware of race and gender when you cast something, but really this is just for each part the best actor that came in for each part, and that's about as much thought as we put into it, and it lucked out.
Well, and I think that the fact that our cast is so diverse is what allows us to do the stories that we do. You can't tell stories about deportation if you have a cast of 10 people who are exactly the same. You need diversity, and that diversity of our cast is the opportunity to throw any kind of issue at this gang and know that everyone's going to be reacting to it from a different point of view, from a different life experience. And so the fact that this show began with this type of diversity embedded in it, the DNA of multiple perspectives and an America that was multi-dimensional. And so I think that it isn't in spite of the diversity, it's because of the diversity that we're allowed to do what the show does really, really well.
Excellent. Shout out, yeah. Let's head on over to Nicole now. Let's get some Cheyenne. So, I asked the fans to send some questions in, and one question that people kept bringing up is it time for Cheyenne to go on an apology tour?
For what?
Yeah, for... She's done nothing wrong, right?
I don't think so.
Where is Cheyenne going? Where would you like to see her go?
Well, she's tried out a lot of different career paths, I think. She likes to work with her hands. She's slightly artistic, but she hasn't been particularly good at any of them. So it'd be nice if maybe she was good at one thing, but obviously she can't leave the Superstore. So yeah, I'm not too sure. I do hear that I'm going to have a big birthday party this season, so that should be exciting.
All right.
Yeah.
The writers
How
are
much
like,
I'm allowed
what?
to talk about it. Oh, maybe I wasn't allowed to say that. I don't know.
Spoiler: Cheyenne has a birthday.
Be off camera, but
She
yeah,
was
she'll have a
born.
Wait, can we get confirmation about whether or not Cheyenne is having a birthday party
Is
this
he having
season?
a birthday?
Where did you hear this, Nicole?
She will continue to age this season. We'll commit to that.
That would be funny. She gets that face app, and she's the only one who doesn't age of this cast. All right, let's go to Kaliko, the new cast member.
Okay.
Kaliko, so much went on with Sandra this season. First off, she got her voice. She's the AOC now of the stores.
Thank you for that. And yes, she rose to the occasion. She gets pushed into the corner sometimes, but I feel like she's able to turn it around for her advantage, maybe not realizing it was a disadvantage for someone else. And I'm sure she's going to be part of the team that tries to help get our boy Mateo back.
Yeah.
Baby boy.
Plus she got Jerry.
Boom.
I got Jerry.
Now, from what I understand, that was improvised. The whole proposal.
Yeah, I found out when I actually watched the episode that was kept. Justin just came up to us. It wasn't in the script. And he came up to us while we were shooting and was like, why don't we do one where Jerry proposes? I'm like, all right, fine.
And I should say, at the end of season 3,
Yes.
we had Jerry propose to Sandra and then cut it. And then it wasn't in the script, and then just on set, I was like, okay, try one where you just ask to marry you.
Like,
And then they were like, every year you're just gonna cut this
Fine.
proposal, aren't you? So at that point, I'm like, well, no, now I'm gonna keep it in.
And on the flip side, Carol, I think, finally got her comeuppance. Has Sandra sort of definitely won in that battle, in that love triangle?
Yeah, but you can't keep Carol down.
Oh,
I mean, she is a formidable nemesis.
She's
the nemesis I deserve, I believe.
she's
it's
always
not over.
vaping. She's always vaping in the corner somewhere, ready,
Her strawberry vape,
plotting that next plan.
trying to get my man.
We're going to open the floor for questions in a second, so start lining up. I'm going to do a lightning round now of some of the other questions that fans sent me earlier today. First off, someone asked, will there be a musical episode?
We have asked for this
Is that
We
somebody
have
else's
begged for
idea?
this.
Is it these people
Was it one of
asking?
them?
since season 1. We've asked for this
Since filming the pilot, you
since
asked.
filming the pilot.
And I remember I said season 4, not believing that we'd ever actually get there.
So what's the word?
Yeah, no, definitely. I don't know how to write music. What do you do?
We sing so much between takes
It's
that
just
it
keep
feels
that in.
like it would be a disservice not to share it with people.
They
I-
can just piece together all the blooper reels of us singing between takes.
Actually, as we were lining up to come in, I heard Mark singing the America's Funniest Home Videos theme song. So that's real. That happened. A question that I know a lot of people ask, you've probably answered it before, but I think some people here would want to know is, where do the names on Amy's name tag come from? Like, how are those decided? I know there are a lot of people who always campaign to get their names on those name tags. Who decides that?
Generally, it's the writer of the particular episode who gets to pick the name. Every once in a while, there's someone, a cast member has a special request they want to put on the name tag.
But tell him about that
Every
last
now and then, when we've had a glass of wine or two, promise a fan in the audience that we'll use their name, and we did. I did, and I ended up using her name. It was Dwidina,
Windina, yeah.
Yeah.
She was Filipino.
and I hope she's here?
No, she was.
Yes, we travel in packs.
Dwidina, are you here?
Ladies and gentlemen, Dwidina!
And also, just for the record, so many people tweet every week. Why does Amy have a different name tag every episode? Every week somebody asks.
Just
And
watch the
every week
pilot.
we say, go back to the pilot. And so once and for all, here at Comic-Con, I just want to say, Amy doesn't wear her name on her name tag because she doesn't like strangers using her name like they know her.
Boom.
Case closed. One question that a number of people ask is, what happened to the dog that Glenn bought for Amy? Will we? It's a very specific question, but nonetheless.
He's at home with the child Amy had that you've never seen.
Sharing a can of dog food, right?
The two of them have a web-only series that's coming.
There's also, by the way, because another question that people ask a lot is the customer interstitials, which I love, partly because the music choices are always like bad late 90s songs or 80s songs. But if you go online, there's an interstitial, 17 minutes of every customer interstitial, just like a jump cut, if that's your thing. You can go online and watch it. It's pretty incredible.
People have so much time.
I also got contacted. I got contacted on Twitter by pop icon Tiffany, because she was like, "I heard that I Think You're Alone Now was used on the show," and I was like, "Yes, it was, Tiffany."
And then Tiffany was like, "Pay up."
She just met. No, then she told me she didn't write the song, so she doesn't get any residuals. It's a boring story, but still Tiffany.
This has been Behind the Music with Lauren Ash.
And one more question, then we'll go to the audience. Someone, and I'm giving this one because I just love this question, and Lauren, you'll like it too. Can we give Dina a spicy-ass love interest in season 5?
Yes. Yeah, guys, I know. Listen, I talk about this all the time. I've gone into the writer's room and written things on the board like Dina gets covered in Chihuahua puppies, or Dina has three-way with greased servicemen, you know? Yeah, I mean, I'm ready. And listen, I feel like the Supernatural is ending. Those boys need work, you know what I mean?
Oh, great. Here we go with the supernatural thing.
I'm pandering to the crowd.
That's
They
the phrase that
know.
pays.
They know.
All right, well, I want to spin off with MC Cool Cloud. And with that, let's go to the audience questions. First up,
Hello?
What's up?
Hello.
all you.
Hi. Hi.
Hi.
So Superstore is such a funny show and it's generally very lighthearted. Did you ever think that you would get to a point where you would have such a serious storyline? And is it hard to flip between the comedy and the drama? And this is for like all the cast members and anyone who wants to answer.
And you're talking about Garrett getting his shoes burned?
The ice, the whole ice situation.
The ice
Small
mobile.
story point.
The ice mobile.
You know, initially, I mean, like, I think the first time we tackled a more dramatic subject, at least for Mateo's character, was the breakup with Jeff. And I remember being so nervous tackling that episode. America directed that episode. And I just felt so thankful that you were sort of behind the wheel, because I was just like, I felt really supported. But I was like, I am a comedian. I don't know how I'm going to pull this off, because it was like, I don't know, like having to do comedy all the time and then switch like crying your eyes out, having your heart stomped was a difficult thing to do. But I don't know, we have an amazing team of writers, the amazing team of actors to work with, that you just feel supported at every turn, so it's easy.
But then we ended that episode with you walking through Devastated and Jonah coming up and punching you out. Like, how was that? And even after Ice takes Mateo away, Nicole turns to Ice and asks them if they want to take their ice cream.
The push and pull is like,
Was it Ice's ice cream or your ice cream?
it's my ice cream.
Your ice
That
cream.
was Mateo's.
If you wanted to take your ice cream.
That was an ad lib, I think, wasn't it?
That was improvised.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I already asked.
Well, the thing that Cole mentioned about the shoes, I often wonder, like, what the net value of all those shoes were that burned. I mean, that's like priceless. Yeah.
Yeah,
but-
not as much as the lives of those birds.
Meh. I don't know about birds, y'all.
But less than the Mickey Mantle rookie card and Superman comic #1 that we so recklessly threw out.
Oh, that's got to kill a lot of people in this room. and
Those
here.
were real. I can't believe they let us do that.
You blew your budget for the next
That
3
was
years,
everything.
but well, thank you so much for your question. Next up, please.
Hello. Oh, this is wild. Hi. So, are the customer transitions that we see when they're doing like random weird things, like holding blood in their hand, weird things, are they things that you guys have seen when you're shopping at a superstore, or things that maybe you've done while you're at a superstore?
Some of them, especially early on, were things that we'd seen, or I guess maybe done. I hope not. I don't know. And then as time goes on, we kind of ran out of those, and we just try to kind of think of new ones. I've told the story once before, but America once texted me something she saw in a Target or a Walmart or something of, it was like some people doing their taxes in an aisle or something. and she was like, this would be a great interstitial. And I was like, oh yeah, that'd be funny. And then I thought for a second, I was like, wait, who took this photo? And she's like, I did. And I was like, so some random people went into Target and then America Ferrera is taking their picture. It's been such screwing with their minds if they had happened to see it. But so sometimes the cast chimes in with great ideas too.
I usually have my phone at the ready when I'm at a Superstore, and I've texted Justin a lot of times, and they never make it in. Maybe one day.
Hopefully
What's funny is
someday.
there's probably photos of people taking pictures of you, America, taking photos of someone else, too.
Cool, thank you.
Thank you so much. Next up, please.
Thank you. My
Is that a frying pan?
Yeah.
Cool.
My question's for the cast. With a show premise that's really simple, just a bunch of people in a store every day, what drew you to the material to take the role?
I remember when I first read the script and then spoke to Justin on the phone, I was like, I really like the script. It feels like there's a lot there. Like, what do you see for the show? And he said, it's a show about people who work in a store and things happen.
And they have every episode.
And every episode he has made good on that promise. And it was just, Justin always had this confidence about the characters. I think that what was so clear from the first time I read the script was that these characters were really well defined and drawn out people, and that who they had cast in these characters had such a strong point of view and such a presence. And from day one, the strength of those characters and their dynamics with one another has really taken the show in so many different directions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, whatever we're talking about, it's those dynamics that I think people are really watching for, to see what happens when, Cheyenne and Garrett get stuck together for a day. What happens when it's Mateo and Glenn? What happens when it's Jonah and Dina? And I remember watching the pilot we made, and my first thought was like, I just want to see more of these people together. So, Justin should speak to this, but when I read the script, it was the strength of those characters and the strength of the actors that had been cast to interpret those characters.
And before Justin speaks, I'd like to talk. Just because it's been a little while. For me, to your point, the confidence, not just in the characters, but the writing in general is so confident. These writers they write every week I read something in a script where I'm like, that's not going to actually make it to air. Like, that's cool now, but there's no way. We'll cut that. All the way up to Ice. Like, there's just been so many things. And the very first, when I read the pilot, and I had just been on an NBC show that got canceled halfway through, and there's no way I was going to be like on a sitcom on NBC or anywhere. And I read, and my agent was like, you should read this script because it's going to change your mind. And honestly, it was Bo that sealed the deal for me. Because I was reading, the script was great, everything was great, and I was like, I need like a sign, something just needs to be like, and like Bo to propose to Cheyenne, but to rap and then jump up on the table and go, everybody get on the fucking floor, this is a robbery. And I was like, this is amazing. I can't believe I'm doing this show. So it was really, I don't think I ever told you, but it was Bo screaming the F word, and I was like,
And if I could just, much like those two, the material and the characters was so intoxicating. But also, we get paid, baby. That's what drew me to it. I was broke.
Weren't you a writer on another show?
Yeah, man, I spent that money, fool.
All on shoes. All on shoes. Thank you so much for your question. Next up, please.
Hi, we're big, huge fans of the show and for you, Lauren. And my husband's name's Elias too, so I'm wondering if you can say one of our favorite lines, Elias, wash your hands, what's up?
Elias, wash your hands with soap. Was that the line?
Yeah.
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 Elias, wash your hands with soap.
Thank you.
All right, next up.
Hey guys, I love the show, and I love the way that your comedy is reflecting reality. And you touched upon Jonah's privilege, or even the broken healthcare and immigration. I wonder if we're going to find out in next season about Marcus's homelessness.
Yes. That's right.
Well,
Marcus lives in the store. He's homeless.
He's been making $109,000 a year.
134.
Excuse me. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Great question.
No, but we are going to see a lot of Marcus this coming season, right?
Definitely, but a lot of Marcus this
Get ready.
season. We are following up on his homeless situation, where we don't want to reveal exactly how, but yes, that is something we're touching on this season.
Maybe it
Yeah,
came
we love
related
John Barinholtz, love Marcus.
related to stamping poop down the drain. Maybe
God.
maybe he lost a
Last line.
deposit on an apartment.
That and you guys are not going to pixelate his penis this season, which I think is bold for NBC.
Thank you, NBC.
Yeah.
Boy.
what's up?
Well, we got some Nico cosplay.
Amazing. Yes. Yes. This is, oh my God. Girl, I posted you on my Insta stories because I just
you,
love
girl.
it. I love you, girl.
I've yet to like it.
So on point.
I know, I love it.
You win this panel. You win this panel. What's your question?
Thanks. Of course, my question is for sis.
Yes.
Okay, my immediate family, they're back in the Philippines, and so are a lot of my friends, and they're huge fans of yours. They're asking if you have any plans, travel plans to the Philippines anytime soon or next year. They're
They want
waiting
me to
for
go
you.
back and visit.
Yes.
I would love to. I moved here when I was 16, and when I filmed Crazy Rich Asians 2 years. When I filmed that movie 2 years ago, that was the first time I was back in the Philippines in like 21 years. And it was so incredible to be back. It was such an emotional homecoming. And I was really like, I don't know why I waited that long. Well, I know, because I was broke and I couldn't afford to go back home. But now that I've been back, I do want to go back home and visit and go back to the motherland, because it was an amazing experience, and I miss it. I want to go back for Christmas. Christmas in the Philippines is amazing, and I want to go back. So,
Yes. Don't deport him, please.
I know.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
So cute.
All right, next question.
Hi, as you guys have become televised faces for a lot of serious social issues, immigration, unionization, things that aren't easy to discuss, have you had to do a lot of homework to be able to discuss these things if questions come up?
Yeah, we do. We take that seriously. We have different people come into the room to talk to us about this organization, Define American, which has been so helpful in terms of a lot of the immigration stuff. We've had representatives from our Walmart come in to talk about their unionizing efforts. We take the research part seriously. Anything else? Yeah.
And the unionizing is still going to be a part of next season too, right? I mean, that's an ongoing topic.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see the employees continue that push, and it'll become, we'll see how Amy also deals with that, being very sympathetic, but also being management now. It'll create some conflicts for her. Yeah.
I just want to say, thank you for your question. I just want to say, as I'm watching, the range of who watches this show and who loves this show, it's so moving to me that we've created a television show where so many different kinds of people feel like they're invited into the conversation. And I think it's a testament to our writers, who ultimately make it funny. And at the end of the day, that is always their goal, is to make you laugh and entertain you as much as possible. But I think one of the most beautiful byproducts of what this show is doing is creating a space where people can believe different things and have different opinions and not agree with each other, but still coexist and treat each other with a basic decency. And I think that, like that to me, that the success of that is reflected most in our fans and how diverse our fanship is. And so I just wanted to reflect that back as I'm watching you guys love on us. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Next up.
Wow. Well, first of all, I just wanted to say I am such a huge Dina fan. I mean, rip the birds. I'm sorry.
Thank you.
Well, I was always wondering why Cloud 9 and not Cloud 10?
I think that's a great question because, you know, what's higher than Cloud 9? The answer is Cloud 10.
Always kind of been the elephant in the room.
Honestly, I considered that when I was working on coming up with the titles. I was like, that would be a funny thing. It was going to be, Cloud 8, one step shy of heaven was going to be for a little while. I thought, what's that?
No.
Yeah, it's okay. Life could have been all different. All these shirts would have been different. And I kind of thought like the company is the straight man of the show. What's just a realistic, not super funny, just believable name that the company would have. So I went right for the low-hanging fruit.
Tell him what the original name of the show was.
The greatest love story ever told. People know.
That's not a joke.
That was the original title of Superstore.
Yes.
Not a joke.
And NBC said no.
They at first said yes, and then a bunch of romantic comedies, as Ben has attested to, failed that year. And then they called and were like, what if you just called it Superstore instead?
But see, that was a great question because he said he considered naming it Cloud 10, so you're right on the money.
There you go. There you go. That's the sequel.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
One of the amazing things about Superstore as well is how you guys make that space look so much bigger than it actually is. I mean, it's astounding how you shoot that. And one of the cool things, if you live in LA and you drive down Barr and past Universal, you can actually look through the fence and see the Cloud 9. So when I have friends in town, I'll actually drive by, hey, it's Cloud 9, and they're impressed for a second, and they're like, when's lunch?
We have an amazing production designer, Michael Gallenberg, who's responsible for a lot of that. There's mirrors above at the top of all the walls, so it looks like the store just keeps continuing. All the shelves are on wheels so that we can create new aisles. So he did an amazing job in giving us the ability to.
Yeah, it looks great. It looks great. Next up.
Hi, I love the entire cast, but as a fellow native Hawaiian, my favorite is Kaliko.
Mahalo, Ra. Mahalo.
Aloha, girl. So now normally, I only see native Hawaiians on like crime procedurals like Hawaii Five-0 or Magnum P.I.
Been trying to get on that show, man. I can't get on.
I know, exactly.
I want to go home, but oh well. Happy here. Very happy here. Continue. Sorry.
I'd say mahalo for putting a native Hawaiian on a comedy. My question is, how did that happen? How did you get a native Hawaiian character on a comedy show set in the Midwest?
That's a really good question. I don't think that it wasn't written specifically, obviously, for any ethnicity. All it said was sad sack, plain Jane. And I was like, what time do I show up? I'm ready. And it wasn't revealed that I was Hawaiian until I think season 3. So, I mean, obviously this. But my last name wasn't revealed until season 3. So I just think that the writers and the producers are just open to people and characters. And I happen to be Hawaiian and they incorporate that in the story. And I'm proud to be on this show and proud to be Hawaiian. And nice to meet you.
Back at you. Mahalo.
It really was. Yeah, just best person for the part again.
No.
Oh, anyway. Oh.
Oh, hi.
Ah, yes, Cheyenne!
Yes.
Hey, oh, you got the eyeshadow and everything.
My question is for Nicole.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of that scene with you and Marcus when you do that tattoo, and it's terrible. Are we going to see more Cheyenne tattoos in the future? And what was that filming like?
Yeah, I hope so. They had a real tattoo artist on set that day to like show me how to make it look convincing, I guess. I think I pulled it off. Yeah, I was actually inspired. I kind of want to get my own tattoo kit, maybe try. I'm good at art, actually, so I think maybe it could work.
Volunteers.
If you want a tattoo, hit me
Yeah,
up.
I'll do
send
a
me
big
DM.
hat in the back.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's for the next panel. We have time for one final question. So who's got it? Yep. Go ahead.
Okay. It's for Colton about your shoes.
Yeah.
So my husband and I play a game when we watch it, and we kind of name what shoes you're wearing. Did
Okay.
it make you as sad as it made me when I seen them all lit up in front of you, besides being scared?
It made me very sad. I really enjoyed wearing the shoes, so it was very sad to see them all burn. And now I have to wear the same shoes every episode. But one of the fun things that we do with fan interactions is before each episode of shooting, I would post 2 pictures of pairs of shoes, and I let people who follow me on Instagram vote on which shoes I would wear that episode. So it was sad, but I still have all the pictures on my Instagram, so you can go check it out. And before we leave,
how much
before we-
time we've spent on
yeah,
these shoes.
But before we finish, I also do want to say I'm very excited. I want to give everyone to give a big round of applause to Ben Feldman for becoming the spokesman for the Twister board game, and he's wearing the shirt for the game tonight. So everybody go out and get Twister the game. Support Ben Feldman.
When did you lock that joke down? How long has that joke been sitting there?
He's been holding on to that for so long. I actually paid her to come up and ask me the last question.
Well, it wouldn't be a Superstore panel without a burn at the very end. So, Season 5 of Superstore premieres at NBC September 26th. Superstore!
Thank you, guys.
Hi, bitches. Welcome to the 2019 Comic-Con International panel for NBC's The Good Place. I'm Mark Evan Jackson. I play Sean. We are going to do what you've done before. We're going to have a panel. We're going to talk with some of my coworkers, and then you're going to get a chance to ask questions. So be prepared for those. Remember that questions begin with questiony words. Words like who and where and what and when, and not like when I was pasting your garbage back together, like, stay out of our garbage. Won't you please help me welcome Manny Jacinto, Darcy Carton, Jamila Jamil, William Jackson Harper, Kristen Bell, Ted Danson, Mike Schur, and Drew Goddard.
Thank you for coming today.
Janet,
We were just realizing that this is the last of the Comic-Cons for NBC's The Good Place.
Why did you just do that?
Why did we just do that?
Why did you just do that?
Kristen just did it.
Oh. I said it. Sorry.
There is one announcement that we need to make that's fun, and that is that at 1 o'clock this afternoon, the Season 3 gag reel will drop. So look for that because it's delicious. You are getting the bleeped version, which is slightly less fun, but is still pure magic. So we're going to talk for a little while, and then we will, I presume, line up in the aisles for questions. Keep your questions brief, please. Spare us the prefaces about the ways in which this show saved your life. We know. It saved all of ours as well. Darcy Carton.
Oh. Hi.
What did you do last Tuesday morning?
I woke up early.
You skip the prefaces about why this show saved your life.
I presented the nominations for the Emmys.
Oh.
Right?
Did anything of note happen?
Yeah, I think like Mahershala Ali is up for something.
Oh.
And like, okay, so Ted's up for Best Actor in a Comedy Series. And, which honestly is kind of old news because that happened last year too, but the show
What?
was nominated for an Emmy.
Oh.
And we got a nomination for writing, and Maya Rudolph got another nomination for guest actor. Anything else?
I think that's it.
Okay, but that's pretty good.
It was good.
So that was very exciting.
Pretty good. Mike, we did one of these panels about a month ago at the Television Academy, and that's where you announced that season 4 would be the last of NBC's The Good Place. Ted Danson during that panel told the audience how perfectly crafted and wonderful the finale is and how it so perfectly wraps up the story. And you said, thank you very much, that's nice. We haven't written it yet.
Right.
We have a table read for those episodes on Monday. Have you written it now?
Yes, the finale is, the script is complete. We read it on Monday. The original plan was to send it to the actors last night. I then was convinced that that was a very bad idea for 2 reasons, one of which is that it's a series finale. It's very emotional and it's very sad, and I didn't want it sort of hanging over people's heads. And also because we knew that if I did send it, Ted would spend this entire panel telling everybody exactly what happens in it. So just as like an insurance policy, we decided to hold off until tomorrow.
An insurance policy against Ted Danson.
That's right.
I'm sorry, against Emmy nominee Ted Danson.
By the way, 17-time Emmy nominee, y'all. 17. Which I think is like the most.
And I won twice. That's, whoa, if it's baseball, I'm in trouble.
Kristen Bell. Happy 89th birthday, I guess? Is that?
Thank you much.
If you haven't seen the video of Kristen pointing the camera at herself and asking her daughters how old they think she just turned. At 1:08, after you've watched the gag reel, do that. Kristen, will you tell the story about how you found out that season 4 would be the last of NBC's The Good Place?
Yeah, how I found out it would be the last.
Yes.
I was driving home coming home from Malibu. This is irrelevant. I was driving in a place that didn't have great service, and I saw Mike was calling me, and I said, "Hey, Mike," and he said, "Hey, want to talk to you." And every bone in my body immediately somehow knew that he was going to say we were either canceled or wrapping it up. And I said, before you finish, the only way that I'm going to be able to hear you out is if you promise to write me something immediately after the show ends. And he said, yeah, sure, I will. And I was like, okay, now go ahead. And he gave me the news that he has a ton of integrity, and the story showed him how it was going to end. And we were going to take that opportunity and wrap it up. What if he was like...
Wait, speaking of integrity, has he offered to write you something now?
Not yet. But I just got confirmation a couple seconds ago that he's finished writing the finale, so I'm going to expect something by, I don't know, next Friday?
Well, yeah. We'll talk right after the read-through.
The rest of the cast, you've known this for some time. You've known that season 4 would be the last. It's bittersweet, is it not?
Well, Mike isn't writing us anything. I don't know about you guys. Anyone?
Yeah, it's a tragedy to walk away from these people and from this show and from all of our amazing fans, because this has been the wildest experience of all of our lives. But also, it's so cool to know that we are completing the story as it was supposed to be completed, and I feel really proud and sad and happy.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Darcy, Manny, Will, you've talked about it. I think each of you separately have framed it as a bit of a breakup. Like
Right.
it seems like the right thing to do. And Darcy, you used the word cool a lot.
I did.
Not all of it seemed cool.
Right, just kind of like, oh, cool. Yeah, that's cool. Okay, cool. Right. No, that's cool. That'll be cool. No, it does, it feels a little bit like a breakup when you are still in love with the person, but you know that it's not going to last or something. So it's like, well, I still love you, but let's end this in a way that feels good for everybody.
Darcy still loves you. That's got to feel good.
I'm in love with you. No, but it's sad as hell. We can say it's great, but it's sad, it sucks.
We hate Mike.
Emmy nominee Ted Danson. Did you already get another job?
Yes. That's how I handle breakups.
That's so good.
You can't divorce me, I quit. Yes, I'm going to work with Tina Fey and Robert Carlock, and I'm going to play the mayor of Los Angeles.
Moments ago, you told me that that's the extent of what you know about the show.
Correct. I was given, though, for this show, a script before I had to choose.
He's saying, unlike with The Good Place, in which he didn't get a script and had to sign on before there was a script, he's, for some reason, for 4 years, still upset about that. Still. It turned out okay, right?
Actually-
Like, it turned out okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Now that. No, he just said that, and I started to well up. It's coming. It did.
Yeah.
I'm going to interrupt. We're all so honored to be part of this show
Yeah.
that Mike created. We're so honored that it fills a room for people who love it as well. We love the 12-year-old kids come up and watch it religiously. That to me means so much. We are so blessed, and we thank you so much for this incredible ride.
You're here.
Wait, hold on. I know we're doing audience stuff later, but Ted, can you see that in the front row there's a baby child dressed as Michael?
Oh my God!
Sorry for all the attention, but this rules. Stand up, Michael. Hi, bud.
Hey!
Yeah, dude.
You rule.
That's great.
This has been the Good Place panel. That's lovely and amazing. Your love for this show is overwhelming and stunning, and the reason is friends. It's we thank you for that. It's pretty remarkable. William Jackson Harper. In hosting The Good Place, the podcast, and rewatching these episodes, it became clear, even more so than on first blush, that your performance as Chidi is the glue that makes a lot of this. You are the most grounded, the most powerful grappling hook to reality of any of the humans. You are the humanist of the Soul Squad, and you've really been the audience's guide through this very weird, smartest, dumbest show on television. My question is this: do you have any pets?
You're weird.
Yes.
Why, yes, I do. His name is Chico the dog. He's a dog. And,
what does his mouth look like?
oh, he did?
In
He's
his
got
ears?
a serious underbite. He's got one ear up, one ear down. He's from Puerto Rico. He's like part Chihuahua, part Boston Terrier, part Bulldog, part bottle caps. part, trash bags. He's the best.
He's our mascot. He
Yeah.
comes to set, and when he comes, we pull the art department pulls the dog beds out of the. If you look in the background, it says like dentist office. Just kidding, puppies. And there's puppy stuff, and we pull all the puppy stuff out, and then Chico plays with it and sits in the beds all day.
Yeah.
Will, does Chico have a theme song?
Oh yay!
Oh man.
You have to.
Do it. Do
And-
it.
and don't worry.
Do it. Do it. Do it.
And don't worry, because nobody has their phones up right now.
Yeah, I know. And this was composed by my girlfriend Alian. Okay. Bum 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 Chico the dog, bum 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 Chico the dog. Bow wow the merry-go-round is Chico the dog, bum 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 Chico the dog, bum 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 Chico the dog. Oh, bow wow the merry-go-round is Chico the dog. Bow wow.
That's going to live on the internet forever. Yeah. Yeah, that ruled.
I saw my shot, I took it. I did ask Will whether I could ask about Chico. I didn't mention the song. Manny. Manny Jacinto.
Bortles.
Jordals.
Portals.
Does that still get yelled at you?
Every once in a while, yeah.
Amazing. Manny, you've been, in the last year or so, you've been lurking in scenes you're not in with a film camera.
Yeah, I have.
Talk about that, and when do we get to see what you've been shooting?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe soon? No. No, I worked with Drew on his last movie, Bad Times, and Jeff Bridges was he's a adamant photographer, and I kind of got inspired by all that, and I started taking pictures of all these guys, and hopefully, I don't know, maybe by the end of the season, when it's all out, I can put some photos and to the public and see what it all kind of looks like behind the scenes and all the glamour and chaos that ensues during.
And all of my crude gestures.
Yeah, yeah. Every time I take a picture of Jamila, it's just the middle finger. That's all it is.
I've managed to ruin every photograph.
Manny, you got to dance in recent things that we've seen.
Yeah.
Talk about your 60-person dance crew. Did you have a hand in choreographing any of that?
Yeah, we did a full-on performance, and it was almost a dream because that's kind of what I wanted to do before acting, before being on TV and stuff. Was just to dance for an artist and stuff. And Mike kind of made it happen for me. I was able to dance with all these legitimate dancers who danced with Justin Timberlake and Jennifer Lopez, and I was like, wow, this is incredible. So I have Mike to thank for that, which is really cool.
There will be more dancing.
Yes, that's what I hear.
Also, at some point, because they danced, it was season 3, right? They did a whole number that obviously got cut down into other, that should be released, the full.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
Make that happen. Are you busy?
Are you busy?
Because you could make that.
Yeah, maybe we'll make that like an internet extra or something.
Yeah, do
'cause
that.
It was like a 90-second or 2-minute long thing,
It was
right?
pretty long, yeah.
Yeah.
And if you think Manny's hot now, wait till he's dancing, y'all.
Jamila, you were just named one of Time Magazine's 25 most influential people on the internet. Do you think at all that season 4 is the last of The Good Place because you've fully become Tahani?
Yeah. Yeah, I've gone back to the world. She's reincarnated, and her soul has entered me, and I've become a wanker.
I mean, it's sort of possible.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. I'm morphing into her.
Well, tell everyone who that you just showed me the picture. Who are this? Like, there's 6 people in this picture in Time magazine.
It's me, AOC, Ariana Grande, my peer, AOC, Ariana Grande. I think
Lil
I
Nas
think
X.
sang that Nas X,
Lil Nas
and
X.
And our good friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Oh, you guys aren't into him? You guys don't like him?
Wow.
So hopefully that's the last time I will appear in a picture with that person. But it was loads of people of color in the photo, which I thought was really great.
Drew Goddard.
Woo!
Drew Goddard, you are Oscar nominated for writing The Martian. You wrote and directed Cabin in the Woods,
Cabin in the Woods.
Bad Times at the El Royale. You created the Daredevil series. You directed the pilot of The Good Place. You directed Dance Dance Resolution, the reboot episode of The Good Place. And you've directed the first 2 episodes in season 4, in upcoming season 4, that I was in. What was that like?
I mean this sincerely, directing Mark is a genuine nightmare. I don't know how much you guys know about method acting, but Mark, I'm sorry, Sean stays in character the entire time. And he is so mean to me. But you just put up with it because the performance is so spectacular.
I'll take it. I accept.
Mark is, by the way, the hardest person on this set to act opposite, because he's the funniest and makes us break and ruin every single take.
You will see that in the gag reel.
Yeah, it's impossible.
Let me interrupt you and mention the words Manny Jacinto.
Also, very difficult.
Oh, just
I would say, like a little Easter egg would be if you see us in a scene with Manny, look at like our cheeks or where our heads, we're mostly not looking at him. Because if we look at him, then we'll laugh. So usually you can tell by like the back of our head, you can see like a little piece of our cheek, because that means we're just looking at the floor.
Also, you'll see the tightness here, which is us holding a smile, and most of us, I think a lot of us get through it, you'll see
Yes, bite your cheek.
that happen because we're all biting the inside of our,
The worst thing, though, is the face that Manny makes just before he's about to, because he always keeps it secret. He never tells us what he's going to fuck us up with. And so he just sits there, and you're unaware of your own face, but he sits there, the take's just about to happen, and he goes... And then you know something horrible is coming, and you're going to ruin the take.
It
Yeah,
happened,
literally-
it
I
happened
literally
about
have-
2 weeks ago. Oh, go for it.
No, I literally have to make myself laugh first, like look like a, and then I know something's good is coming up. Yeah.
Kristen, do you remember about 2 weeks ago when at 7 o'clock in the morning, Manny made Ted cry?
oh my God, yeah, that was, and you tried to pretend that you weren't
Oh,
crying.
it was the best.
It was the absolute best. That was the, you know what? That was
Yeah,
that one.
yeah.
Ooh, guys.
Oh.
Wait, if you say like the word that it was, would that be a spoiler? That he said that made you guys?
I came into work and I got a report that after 1 hour of shooting, they were 1 hour behind schedule. True. And I said, why? And they said Manny said something, Manny's line made everybody laugh. And I said, for an hour? And they were like, yeah. And
kind of, yes.
if I remember the scene correctly, we won't spoil it, but he had one line.
Yeah.
And it was like 12 words, and it was an hour of everyone going, okay, come on, focus, we can do this. And then they were an hour behind.
And you know what? The truth is that it's funny. It's also really irritating because you or I have had like a page-and-a-half monologue that's impossible to memorize, and we're struggling through it, and then Manny goes, boom.
The thing that happened at the end of that, so we tried to regain our composure, And I had a line to Ted, and I looked to Ted to say the line, and you were weeping. And I just stopped, and the director, Rebecca Asher, said, Mark, why have you stopped? And I said, because Ted is crying. And Ted did this. Ted goes, no, I'm not, I'm fine. And he looked at me and he goes, I'm not on camera. And Rebecca goes, Ted, we have you in the wide. And he goes,
That's great.
Anyway, Drew, what was it like having directed the pilot and now, getting to where we are there surprises, are there things that you wouldn't have been able to anticipate about the evolution of the show from the beginning?
I mean, the truth is the show has always been there with Mike. When Mike first pitched the series, the core of it has always been the same. And even then you told me it had an expiration date and we would only do a few seasons. And I have spent the last 4 years trying to talk you out of that. And I've failed terribly. I'm sorry to all of you because yeah, it is my fault.
Yeah.
But no, the show's always been there. I mean, it evolves. This cast continues to transcend every single year. You just reach new heights, and it's a joy, but it's always been the same show at its core.
Pretty great show. I want to talk a little bit about directing and about the culture of the show. Mike, in this final season, season 4, there are some interesting new directors that got the nod. Valeria Collins, our script supervisor, who was a script supervisor on Parks and Rec.
Yep.
And
Yes.
I think even a Brooklyn or two. And on various things, you gave Valeria the nod to direct. Steve Day, our first assistant director, one of our first assistant directors.
Longtime AD.
He directed an episode, and then everyone beneath him, all the steps sort of stepped up for a week and were promoted, and that's remarkably cool. It would have been so much easier for you not to do that. Will you please run everything?
Well, part of the joy of a show lasting for a while is that people get to move up and take on new responsibilities, and there's always a little bit of a fear expressed by various people in the machine about people directing, because directing is a huge job, obviously. But in Valeria's case, so she's our script supervisor, which means she tracks continuity, she makes sure that everything is clicking along correctly, that we haven't screwed anything up, we haven't missed a line or whatever. And so if you ask yourself, okay, is she ready to direct an episode of TV? My answer would be she's the script supervisor and continuity person on the Fast and Furious movies. True. So picture that in your head for a second. Picture one small human woman responsible for making sure that those action sequences all are legible to the human brain, that the car crashes and the fist punching and the chaos and whatever has all been like that. You've gotten every piece of that. I feel like she can handle one episode of The Good Place. And Steve Day, same thing. Steve Day is an assistant director he was an assistant director on Parks and Rec and on Last Man on Earth with Mary Steenburgen. And he is very frequently, I would say you guys would agree with me, the only person on the set who actually knows what's going on.
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So like that, but the fun of this to me is that there are people who are bursting at the seams, who are so obviously ready to take on new challenges and do new things, and then they get to do them because we have a production team led by Morgan Sackett, our executive producer.
Oh, it's his birthday today.
Morgan's here. Morgan's here and hates attention, so everyone just clap and cheer
Yay,
for Morgan. This production team has now been in place since 2007, and we have like a really solid foundation, and then people get to stretch their wings. It's wonderful. It's one of the best parts of the job. It's with writers, with actors. Guess who else directed this year? Kristen Bell directed that.
Wait. Oh, that's right.
I don't want to talk about that. What I wanted to say the whole time you were talking is that I want to tell you what the biggest lesson that I've learned from Mike Schur is that The best part about Mike is not actually that he's super ethical and he's an amazing comedy writer. The biggest lesson I've learned from him is he knows how to empower people around him. And I will take that away forever to my grave as a huge life lesson. For real, it's astounding how much you can look at other people around you and say, wow, I see so much potential in you. How can I lift you up? And that is why our set is so fun to work on, and that is why we run so smoothly. And it's because you see potential in people and you hand out opportunities left and right.
Yeah. Also, it's the only set I've ever been on or really ever heard of where you have pretty much 50-50 female writers and male writers, 50-50 female directors and male directors. And as a woman on set, it feels so amazing to look out onto your set and see so many people who you identify with. And so thank you for creating that space for us.
Well, I've said this before, it'll be the end of this stuff that we talk about all the time now is when we're not talking about it anymore. So let's do this for like 30 years, and eventually we'll get to the point where no one has to be amazed that 50% of the directors on a TV
And
show
by the
season
way-
were women.
But by the way, it isn't talked about on set, which is amazing. Nobody talks about it. It just is.
That's true.
And it's just been. It's always been. It always is. Nobody notices. It just is the way it is. And it's f***ing great.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Forking. She said forking. Great.
And as the token old white man, I want to thank you. I appreciate it.
Right behind you, brother. Right behind you.
You need one, you know? You need one. Because otherwise they get grouchy and they start complaining to the press.
Kristen, you did direct an episode. It went aggressively smoothly.
So well.
You gave
Did
very
it go
good notes.
Too well? It almost went too well.
Yeah. I mean, we moved scenes up from the next day into the day. I'm just worried that word's going to get out.
I'm gonna get in trouble because I'm too fast of a director. That's
Yeah.
what I kept saying all week. Because having a director who's decisive was always my favorite thing. And so when I was given this opportunity, I was like, all you gotta do is know your decisions. You gotta come in prepared. And I feel like I did, and I had so much fun directing all of you. I mean, I already feel like I'm pretty bossy around you guys. Like I'm already, I lean in a lot, and I'm not gonna apologize for it. No. And but I had fun wearing the actual hat where instead of just ignoring me, you guys had to listen.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
It was fun. You did a very sweet thing where you huddled us beforehand on the first day and just said, like, if I'm not giving you something that you're after, don't let our familiarity get in the way, or.
Right. Yeah, don't, yes, that was very important to me, because when you're switching jobs, again, I've never done it before, so I would imagine that if things are crossing over because of friendships or we're peers, and then now I have this weird little bit of control, I didn't want to let anything get in the way, so I just said very candidly, if I'm not giving you something that you need and you get something from other directors, please let me know, and I hope that I adjusted accordingly.
You gave us what we needed.
So quickly.
Thanks, girl.
Darcy Carden, the episode Janet's. That's all. That was it.
That's fine.
Nominated for writing.
Yes.
Giant oversight for acting.
No.
Yes.
Josh Siegel and Dylan Morgan wrote that episode, and Morgan Sackett directed that episode, and it was such a collaborative experience, including with my castmates who, you didn't see them much in the episode, but they were there and helpful. It was amazing.
May I ask you one specific question?
Yes.
You said that that various cast members, obviously they performed their performance and you recorded it and that sort of thing. You said that Will typed out his lines the
that's
way.
right.
Do you do that for yourself every episode, Will?
When I get a particularly dense piece of text,
Yeah.
I like stack the language. So I basically take an
Retype.
idea I take the idea and put it on one line, take the next idea, put it on that line, just so I can like get through it as a sort of narrative piece rather than just jamming the words in. And I don't know if it helped.
It helps.
Oh, good.
Because Janet doesn't usually have long speeches like that, and Chidi does, and it is hard to memorize, and it helped me so much. Everybody gave me a little something like that in a secretive little way without even talking to
I
each
just
other
gave you
about it.
cake.
You gave me donuts,
Yeah.
and it was great. That's great. That's a great thing to give someone.
To fuel her.
Yeah, and it was really just like everything else on the show. It was incredibly positive and collaborative, and truly one of the best experiences of my life. So, and I'm
Cool.
I'm sorry.
that's
I'm
so-
sorry. I know you're not supposed to talk about stuff like this, but imagine that your job is to make a list of the best supporting actress performances on television, and then imagine you watch that episode, and then imagine you think, yeah, just not top 5. Imagine that. Imagine how crazy a human being you would have to be to not. I don't get it, man. I know. Look, art is subjective, and to each his or her own. I understand it. I will never understand Darcy Carden not getting nominated for an Emmy for that performance. I don't get it.
We are nearing the end of our time together. It's time now for your questions. Line up however it needs to be done. And again, please keep your questions brief. Yes, please begin.
Hey, Janet.
Hey, Janet.
Hey!
Oh my God, yes. Oh yes. Okay, let's.
Darcy Carden should be Emmy nominated. Darcy Carden. That is a factual statement. Could you please describe the experience of playing Janet as Eleanor, and Eleanor playing Janet playing you, and all the layers of Janet? That is the question.
There you go.
Hello, sisters.
We are sisters.
Oh, cool. I know, we are sisters. That's why I said it. I will just say, I don't really know how to describe it other than, I'll just say, like, I have lived with these actors and I've lived with these characters for so long, and I'm such a gigantic fan of the show that it wasn't as hard. It just was, I don't know how to describe it. I don't.
How to
but
what?
I do know.
You don't know how to what?
I don't know how to. But I know that Mark told me that he thought I didn't do a very good job in that part. Will you say that?
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Will you tell?
It's a compliment. Hang on. I was watching the episode and when it aired the first time, and just marveling at how it wasn't like you were impersonating the cast. It really felt like you were becoming the cast. And then there was just one thing where you were doing Jason, and it was like, oh, it's not a great Jason. And then I was like, wait, that's not Jason. That's Eleanor pretending to be Jason. And it was perfect.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That means there's a couple like ways to know if it worked, and that's one way. And another way that I found out that episode worked is after the episode aired, Kristen called me and said, I'm going to say something embarrassing, but she said, I'm so proud of you, I feel like my milk's coming in. So then I was like, okay, good, I guess it worked. It's hard to tell for me, but I guess that means it worked, so that was great. So anyway,
The highest compliment.
yeah. Thank you, sisters.
Thank you. Next question.
Fantastic. Hi, guys.
What does your shirt say?
It says, I met the almighty burrito at San Diego Comic-Con 2018, and all I got was this working shirt.
Yes.
As the show is coming to an end, what I wanted to know is if you could spin off any minor character,
Sean,
who would you?
Next question.
Next question. Next.
I agree.
Yeah, truly, actually.
Yeah.
Please continue your question. I'm sorry.
Who would you pick?
I think we all vote Sean, right?
Yeah, Sean.
Yeah.
With a small runner-up of Pillboy.
And Vicky has to be in it.
The list gets long, right?
I definitely think that there's a very funny and also sad show about Donkey Doug Pillboy and Dance Dance Resolution and set in Jacksonville. And I think there's a very weird David Lynchian type of show about Derek.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Just like floating through space and time, showing up in like atomic bomb explosions, like Bob, like just being released into the ether. And of course Sean, he's staring at me, so I'll say also Sean would be good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What are you gonna do
Also,
with that
this
eyebrow?
Is, this is my buddy, by the way. This guy right here, Jeremy. This is a great dude. He lives in New York, and he's a producer, and he's dope. And thanks for coming out, man.
Yay!
Thank you so much, Will.
Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sophia, and I just want to say that this is one of my favorite shows. And my question for all of you is, who's your favorite Janet?
Sophia. Is that right, Sophia? Sophia?
Hello?
Is that your name?
Yeah. I think so.
Ted, don't you like it when little kids watch our show?
Sophia, how old are you?
9.
Aww. That's my daughter's 9. You like the show a little more than her, I think.
Sophia,
what I did wrong.
you have great taste.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump in and say, bad Janet. I love her. I love a fart joke though. So. Who I am.
I'm gonna agree with you. I love a good fart joke. Bad Janet.
I kind of love Neutral Janet. Neutral Janet really makes me laugh that she ends everything by announcing that it's ending. End of statement, end of sentence. That really made me laugh. That was the last addition to the Janet's episode, was we were like, in addition to having Darcy play all of her castmates, we're also gonna just throw in oh yeah, by the way, there's a Neutral Janet too. And then we loved it so much we just kept going back to it. There may be, I'll hit a little potential hint of something. You may meet a new Janet this year.
Woo! That's a scoop, baby.
You might. I'm not saying you will. I'm saying you might.
You might.
Oh,
No, you will.
If you meet her, that might also be my favorite Janet.
Yeah. Thank you. We love you.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thank you for watching.
No, next question. One of my favorites was your description, Darcy, of playing Neutral Janet, which was, you said you just let all your face meat hang.
Yeah. that checks out. That's right. Hello.
Hi, my question's for Michael. If the characters or cast of The Good Place were baseball characters, which would be most likely to achieve a fam or a scooter?
Oh my God. You guys, this is like the deepest cut of all deep cuts in like my life. This is one of the weirdest moments of my life. Thank you for this. Literally just trying to explain what he means would take another hour. And then I'd have to come up with the answers.
But you're the only person at this table who could.
Oh, I mean, I know it's impossible. I have to think about it for so long. Listen, meet me outside after. I'll give you my email address, and you and I will have a long, fruitful conversation about this.
Uh-oh.
All right. Kristen already touched on this. What do you want to take from this project to future projects? Because it's an amazing cast and the lovely way you guys do things.
Ted's the only one who has a future. Maybe he should answer.
Yeah.
What was the question? How? I think the answer is Morgan Sackett.
Yeah.
Yeah. Besides all the people, if we can't choose the people,
Oh, just maybe something, the way you worked on it, or just something that you got out of this show that you want to take to everything you work on from now on.
I mean, I literally learned how to act on this show, so that's it. I'll just hopefully keep knowing how to do that.
I keep throwing this back because to me, I wake up, try to remember my words, I mean, literally, that are delicious, and I try to remember them. And then I pick up the script. That was funny. But I always go back to the writing, and you can't write about decency and what it means. I'm gonna start crying again.
I know. Just
You
try
can't
it.
write about decency and what it means to be a good person and how to lead a life and their consequences unless you truly understand that and lead a life like that. So
Yeah.
it's been an honor that I think, because I've been so busy trying to remember your lines, that will catch up with me as I go through life. You are an inspiration, for real.
Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hello. So, about the Emmy thing, it took Tatiana Maslany like a long time to get an Emmy, so keep going. And my question, how do you choose the philosophers? Like, Chidi has all these philosophers that he dates back on. How do you choose?
I did a lot of reading before writing the show and didn't understand most of it, and then I got two very smart people who do understand it, named Pamela Hieronymi, who teaches at UCLA, and Todd May, who teaches at Clemson. And they're wonderful. They're our philosophy advisors, and they help me understand the basics. And they were the ones who was like, okay, I would describe Chidi and his issues and his problems and what he believes about the world, and they would say, okay, well, he's a Kantian. This is what Kantians believe, and then they would, they helped me sort of put specific thinkers to the personalities of the characters. And then I hired a very smart staff full of people who are brilliant and interesting, and they would do their own reading. And Todd May came to us because one of our writers, Dan Schofield, was like, hey, I was poking around and I found this book called Death, and it's about the problem of, hilarious. Beach read, as Chidi said, or Eleanor says, and he said this is a book about how hard it is to lead a moral life if you're immortal, because nothing means anything, and that led us to Todd. And so much of it is it's a group effort, and it's a bunch of us who understand things roughly at a sort of Wikipedia entry level, poking around and trying to find great thinkers who have put our sort of thoughts about the characters into actual writings and stuff. And the trolley problem was a famous one. Pam Hieronymi teaches the trolley problem in her philosophy class at UCLA. The trolley problem was invented by a woman named Philippa Foot. She was a British philosopher in the 60s, and she wrote some wonderful books that you actually can read. Hers you can actually read. And so it's sort of one thing leads to another. Like we stumbled on stuff, and that led us to something else and something else and something else. And as soon as this show's over, it's all going to just fly away from my brain. I'm going to retain nothing. But this is a long-winded way of saying it was just we had a lot of help. I had a lot of help.
My English teacher,
I have
the heartbreaking.
We'll never know we could just use our imaginations.
I have the heartbreaking duty to say that we have time for one more question.
This message is for Kristen.
how would your character Eleanor interact with Veronica Mars?
Anyone seen it yet? No. The new one.
The new one.
All of them?
Anyone? They're
Okay.
right.
You all right? Okay, good. How would Eleanor interact with Veronica? I mean, that's kind of a no contest. Veronica would slay Eleanor so bad. So bad. She would drag her. And Eleanor would barely survive. But I think after Veronica really gave her what for, Eleanor would have mad respect for Veronica and be a part of her crew.
Yeah.
Would there be a physical attraction?
Big time, for sure. For sure.
Mike Schur. Thank you for the good place.
Okay, thank you. Listen, thank you. The proper thanks for the good place goes to about 1,000 people, so just chill out, all right? Just simmer down. Like every great thing in this world, it's collaborative. There are a very, very large number of people who deserve thanks, starting with the cast, and Drew Goddard and Mark Evan Jackson and Morgan Sackett and everybody who works on the show. It's a real pleasure to have made it. Thank you so much.
Thank you for being here. The reason is friends. Please join me in thanking Manny Jacinto, Darcy Carden, Jamila Jamil, William Jackson Harper, Kristen Bell, Emmy nominee Ted Danson, Drew Goddard, and Mike Schur.
Without further ado, let's bring out the cast of Brooklyn Nine-Nine for a big, fun edition of The Night Shift with the Nine-Nine. Let's get the party started. Joel McKinnon Miller. Woo! Dirk Blocker. Joe Lo Trulio. The one and only Terry Crews. The amazing Melissa Fumero. He's our favorite detective. No, sorry, no judgment. Andy Samberg. And last but certainly not least, executive producers Dan Gore and Luke Del Tredio.
Love you, hi.
Love you guys.
We went with the jumpsuits.
Well, let's start with from the beginning. You know, you heard Stephanie on the intro video. She asked for embarrassing stories, so let's dive in right there. And as Holt would say, give me your hot goss.
Hot goss.
Give me your embarrassing stories. What's your hot goss? Who's got the good embarrassing story?
Ooh, the dirt.
I don't know, I heard Mahershala Ali's playing Blade. That's cool.
That is.
Did you mean about the show?
About the show.
Oh, yeah.
About, each other on set. I mean, you guys clearly are a fun cast. I mean, what's it like on set? How do you get any work done?
We're very professional.
Yeah. We work hard.
We like each other.
Joel has a drug problem. It's bad, and we decided not to talk about it, but if you're asking for gossip, that's the gossip.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, when you guys are taping, though, who breaks first? Who's the easiest to break during a scene?
I mean, presently at this table, me. But Chelsea had me beat the last few seasons, correct?
Yeah, Chelsea stopped trying. It kind of became part of her character that her character was always laughing.
Yeah.
And since they're not here, Steph and Andre.
Yeah, they break.
They break all the time, and they're not
All
here
the
to defend
time,
themselves.
every day. They're not here to defend themselves.
Nope, at all.
But we wanted them to be here.
Yes.
While they can't be here, we thought the next best thing would be to have their presence with us. So if you guys could bring out Andre Brower, ladies and gentlemen, Andre Brower!
Thank you for putting them right behind me. I'm not going to be thinking about that for the duration.
Well, let's talk about last season. Dan and Luke, this was your first year on NBC. What were some of the things that you were able to do there that you weren't able to do on Fox?
We did a lot of cursing, a lot of bleeping, some pixelation. Did we do any pixelation? We did some pixelation, right? Some nudity?
Well, I said the dirtiest thing ever.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah,
the
you did.
dirtiest thing. It was so dirty and nasty.
I don't even want to talk about it, Terry.
I know. Everybody at the break, they said, we're going to lunch. We got to go to lunch. 'Cause
It even shocked me. Let's contextualize, because you're just saying you said something dirty, like into space.
No, but it was part
There
of
was
the
a part in the script where the character, Terry,
Yeah.
says something dirty, and it was like, Terry, expletive, run, and then we'll bleep it. And I think what the writers intended was not nearly as shocking as what Terry actually said. Kind of ran with it, and a lot of demons came out.
The editor started crying when she heard it.
It was like End of Lost Ark, yeah.
Because you couldn't bleep before, but we could bleep on NBC.
And the B and the C and the A was also, the C and the B.
Oh, yeah.
Was kind of dirty.
It's my favorite children's book.
One of my favorite things about the show, and we were just talking about this, is the cold opens. First of all, do you guys have some favorite cold opens, and have there been any that didn't work?
We could talk about favorite cold opens. So there is one cold open we shot. It was the second episode we ever shot. There was a cold open where, and that's the only one that didn't work. It's the only thing we ever did that didn't work. Okay. It was the second episode. Jake and Amy pursued a criminal into a library. Amy was incredibly intimately aware. She was like, go to Dewey Decimal Section 3491-2-2. And then Jake was like, where? And then they got into a fight throwing a book, and we sort of hadn't figured, I think now if we did it, it would work.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember shooting the cold open.
We should air it, and
It never
so
aired.
people notice that we look way younger.
I wrote that. I always thought it was great.
I know. You bring it up a lot. Favorite cold open? My favorite cold open, there are a bunch I like. I really love the one where Terry let a tarantula crawl around on his head.
That was so real.
It was.
Quite.
I love oldest bag. Yeah, and they talk about oldest bag, and then Charles thinks they're talking
yeah.
about the oldest
Right,
person they've
right,
slept
right.
with.
Right.
That was a good one.
Yeah, that was a good one. And I love it. There's a part where Jake is laughing, and it's actually Andy laughing at at Joe.
Yeah.
And
In that cold open.
Yeah, in that cold open. Yeah, there's like a reaction shot of you laughing, and it's you really laughing.
It was on
It's
some
great.
sort of Joe riff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Button McGee, was Button McGee going?
Yeah, Butt McGee was going.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we call Joe because he
I
always
can't
had-
end a scene sometimes, and I keep talking.
The scene doesn't stop.
And the scene doesn't stop, so I've been christened Button
The
McGee.
joke that like ends a scene is called a button. And so we call Joe Button McGee because he always tries to add one more at the end.
I can't stop. I can't stop.
Like, but what if I went
And
here
then-
with you? We're like, yeah, no, that was the end of the scene before that.
Yeah.
Oh,
Go ahead.
no, you.
I like the one of the cold opens I like is there's one where Charles is coming in over and over in different costumes and they're making fun of him. And there was at one point, I don't know if to take is in there, but Charles just started making fun of himself and pointing at himself, and that was a laugh.
My favorite was, and it still makes me laugh every time, is the Frosted Tips. When he came back from Florida, and we're tip buds, and then when he sees it getting cut off, and he's like, yeah, I cannot stop laughing at that. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen in my life.
Yep. The coffee open, still the best. That and Backstreet Boys.
Coffee one was a real leap of faith because it was so much of an editing joke.
Yeah.
We rarely do that where we're relying totally on an editing mechanism to make it funny with the slow-mo and all that.
The Diane Wiest, I think, is also one that we all love.
Wiest infection.
Wiest infection.
Yeah. And then the longest stare down in the history of the show. Yeah. I love that one. I mean, someone's got to say Backstreet Boys, right?
Yeah. Can't bury the lead.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's shift to Jake and Amy. Andy, Melissa, when you guys first started out, did you have any idea that they would become such a beloved couple that just everyone would root for?
No.
Yes. No. How did we get feedback?
I don't know. It's our energy.
It's like the comedy gods being like, no.
I guess we hoped.
We hoped and dreamed.
Yeah.
Those of us who were casting it felt very confident that it was going to work out.
How did Jake and Amy test, Dan?
Yeah.
Through the roof, Andy.
Oh, that's nice. I love test greetings.
When we auditioned, actually, Andy read with people who were auditioning for the part of Amy, and we did a little improvisation after reading a scene. And I think Melissa was one of the only people, if not the only person, who had what we call the blow or the big joke at the end of the scene. She came up with a joke, and it was the funniest joke in the scene, and we sort of ended it there. And we were like, oh yeah, she can hold her own with Andy. She's fantastic.
I did?
Yeah.
Not really. Not a particularly high
I don't remember that.
bar. And now she dominates me every day of my life. And I'm grateful for it. What else is going on?
I do want to say, I remember when we were doing the pilot, and it was as if we had already been doing this for like months. Yeah. And we had only been together like 2 days. And I was like, this is special. And then I got to sit in the office with Andre Braugher, okay? When I tell you, yes, first of all.
Can you believe he's here?
There he is. And he looked at me just like that. But I was...
Terry, it's good to sit in an office with you, too.
But I knew it was special simply because what he brings, he grounds the show. He makes it what it is. It's like you can't imagine it without Andre. You know what I mean? And I remember it feeling like that in the beginning. I remember coming home like, my God, you won't believe the day we just had. Like, I know I enjoyed it. And I knew if I loved it, then someone else would. But I have to say, I did not know it would become as huge as it has become. And I'm so thankful. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Just going back to Jake and Amy really quick, Dan, they did not kiss at all last season on screen.
What? Not at all? No one noticed that. It's crazy that you're bringing that up. If you read the internet, if you scour the internet, you will find not one person has mentioned that. This is a crazy thing. No, I know. Look, It's a great failing. If I had my druthers, 36% of the show would be them kissing. Tenderly. 14% would be them talking about how they just kissed. No, there were a number of, I don't know what happened. Look, it's a great, mistakes were made. Mistakes were made.
This is so enjoyable.
Mistakes were made. That's all I'll say. Obviously, we love it when they kiss, but, you know, they are.
This is like being told about sex by your dad.
It's just.
You'll both have your clothes off,
Yeah.
and, I mean, you don't have to have your clothes off.
Human skin can be pleasurable to touch.
All animals do it.
Watch your mother and I. Well, I don't know what happened to your house.
Exactly that. No, here's the thing. The thing is, they do work together. And this is a work-based show, and I mean, in most workplaces, there aren't a ton of kisses happening, hopefully. And so, I think in the end, what you'll see is we did the right thing. Thank you. There will be kissing in season 7. There will be kissing. And more. Lots more. It's gonna be good, guys.
Jesus Christ.
I don't know what's going on. What, did people want to see them kiss? Nobody wants to see them kiss.
Yeah.
I said no one wants to see them kiss, and you all went, yeah. Thank you.
Dan, I will pay you $1,000 to stop talking about this.
Okay.
Well, let's talk about the other main couple on Brooklyn Nine-Nine here. Joe, Boyle, and Jake have one of the best romances on all of TV.
Right.
Do you have a favorite moment?
A favorite moment?
Favorite moment.
I love when Jake and
They should kiss more.
I thought you should kiss more.
Right?
I agree. My favorite moment is when we kiss. Wait a minute. I like when we thought it was our last ride, and you know, we're kind of starting to cry while we're staking out, you know, the job, and I like that moment. Two guys just getting real with each other, and I don't know. I think it's important to show that you know, affection is important and nothing to be ashamed of. That's
right.
That's it.
Oh.
That's it. There's no joke there. There's no joke there. Andy, you do the joke.
I already did the kissing thing.
Okay. Go back and forth. It's like tennis.
This is awkward. It's awkward.
I got you.
I like tennis. I like tennis.
Terry, you won the Cinco de Mayo Halloween heist last year. And you were spray painted gold. First of all, how much fun was that episode for you? And were you happy that Terry finally got the win?
Say that again. I'm sorry, the echoes.
Was the Halloween heist satisfying and being painted gold
Yes.
fun?
No. No, it wasn't. No, first of all, it was very, very satisfying because we do not know who's going to win. We literally know it's going to be a heist, and we get the script, and then we read it, and we're like, ah! And they write it, but you feel like you actually did win it because you're so smart. You know what I mean? But being painted gold hurt. It hurt a lot.
Does it hurt when you sweat?
Oh,
Like
yeah,
little
that was the
pinpricks
thing. I'm allergic to like nickel and metal, and they were like, "Well, there's no metal in the makeup, but it was in the suit." And so I was itching all week, and I broke out, and I was like, but I was like, "But the joke is gonna be worth it," and it was. It was. Oh, I'll be gold again. I have no problem with it.
So Holt mentioned that the heist would move back to Halloween last season. Dan and Luke, what can we expect from that?
That he was wrong. I mean, we're mid-season, so we don't know exactly when our first air date will be, but it'll be after Halloween. I mean, that doesn't mean we won't figure out some clever way of making it actually having been Halloween or something. But sadly, we will not be able to have a heist on or around Halloween of 2020.
Hear me
man.
out, time travel.
Wait a second.
Hear me out.
Okay.
There's a DeLorean.
Interesting. No, but we love, I mean, as fans of the show ourselves, we love the heists, and we will continue to do them whenever we are on the air. And I was really, we thought the Cinco de Mayo solution was kind of cool. So.
Phrased weird.
No, I want it, so it's done.
Yeah.
But Dan, you do have another announcement about something coming back next season.
Can't have. Oh, we are going to do the Jimmy Jab games again.
Which is to say, we're just going to show it this time because they do it every year, as stated in the first one. Anyways, what do you think, Andre?
He's a goof.
Dirk and Joel, we finally saw young Hitchcock and Scully last season. Flat Top and the Freak, how good was that? How did you respond to learning about their past and as young cops? And is there a part of you that kind of wants to see them back in action like that again?
Well, I think the guy that played Scully could have been a little bit more ripped. And I think the love affair between Hitchcock and Scully is really something to behold.
Yeah.
I know I like to behold it.
We had a wonderful time, and we thought those two young gentlemen were terrific, and we just had a blast. And I think you all enjoyed it too, and we really appreciated that.
Well said.
One of the other things that I really enjoy about this show is that it's not afraid to kind of go there when it comes to issue-driven comedy. Melissa, what kind of response did you get last season from the Me Too episode?
Whew. It was overwhelmingly beautiful. You know, obviously, even before that episode was written, that was something that was almost a daily conversation for me and other women and men in my life, and obviously Terry and everything that he came forward with. So when they wrote that episode, it felt very personal, and I thought the writers really nailed the tone of it, and the way they presented it felt really authentic, like they weren't pushing a sort of side or, you know, opinion. It was just like, this is how this happens in real life. So, and yeah, and I think for people to see Amy vulnerable, you know, that was really satisfying just as an actor, because I don't think we could have done that earlier in our run. That felt like something you can only do in a season 6. You've sort of gotten to a place where you've earned it with the character, and it feels more special to see her in that light. And then just the response from women and men of feeling seen, of thank you for telling the story. Also from a lot of people being like, I never kind of thought of it this way, or my eyes were open to these kind of issues and how these things can unfold. Yeah, I was really, really proud of that episode. I thought Stephanie Beatrice knocked it out of the park. It was amazing to have my friend behind the camera.
And behind you in cutout form.
Yeah. Yeah, and I got to do those scenes with my favorite scene partners, so.
See, chemistry. Can I just say that also I thought you and Stephanie and Andy, the writers spent a lot of time really working on this episode, but we really listened to the feedback from them. And in an earlier draft, I think we had a much sort of rosier, sunnier ending. And it was really important to everyone to show that it wasn't a simple cut and dry solution. And if you really look at the ending of it, it's a really sort of a split decision. It's not like things, we really try not to tie things up with a bow. And it was really important. I think the writers we got a little bit scared at a certain point, and the actors really kind of forced our hand and said, like, let's not tie this up with a bow. Let's make this a little more difficult. So, thank you.
Thank you, Dan.
Luke, how important is it to you guys to continue to tackle important subjects? And can you say anything about anything you're working on for next season?
I mean, I think it's incredibly important that we do it. I think that we've received great feedback, and it's like, I think that one thing that's been amazing about the response, especially in the last few years to the show, and us understanding how much this show reaches people and how much it affects people's lives, it's incredible on a creative level just to feel appreciated, but it also brings with it a lot of a sense of responsibility. I think that we feel like we're putting something out into the world and we really see it, and I think we all take very seriously the responsibility to do something with that power, and I think as we're putting stuff into the world, we're very conscious about trying to put good into the world or lead conversations that are important. So I think we will continue to do it. I don't think we've talked about this year anything, and I don't know, there are big episodes that are obviously issue episodes. There was the Me Too episode or where Terry was racially profiled, but there's also, we try to think of it in terms of little moments too, little throwaway lines or jokes that just show that that acknowledge real world problems and issues for people and try to make it clear that as much as it's a comedy show that people should laugh at, that it's also, that there's things in the world out there and that we're not just existing totally in a vacuum.
But also, we're definitely going to continue following Rosa's story and Rosa's story with her parents, and the relationships that she gets into. And so, I mean, and there are issues we are interested in, it's really important to us to tackle them in a way that is fair to the issue and also still funny in some capacity.
Yeah.
Thank you, clown person.
Harley Quinn.
Thank you, Harley Quinn.
You guys said farewell to Chelsea Peretti and Gina last season. Dan and Luke, now that we've seen her exit, first of all, have you talked about her returning at all in some capacity here and there? And is there a chance we'll see more of a revolving door when it comes to assistance for Holt?
That's a great question. I think it's like a very tempting thing to have a revolving door of assistance, and certainly it's been very funny on other shows. I just feel like Gina is so irreplaceable. It's very hard.
Seems unfair to whatever actor we were to put in that spot to have to do anything to live up to Chelsea at all. But I think we've talked at great length about bringing her back, and we'd like to bring her back for
multiple episodes, big
plots, little jokes here and there. We would love to have her as much as.
But if the actor was Brad Pitt?
What'd you say?
What if the actor was Brad Pitt? Would that still be unfair? We would use Brad Pitt.
Knew it. I knew it.
Let's talk a little bit about the finale. Holt winds up back on patrol. How long can we expect him to remain a patrolman? I mean, and what is that going to do to the rest of the 9-9?
No spoilies. I think that we want to pay tribute to the cliffhanger. We're not just going to blow past it, and it's definitely the reason we decided to do that as a cliffhanger was because it's a change in the dynamic, which will change everyone else's dynamic. And also, we've done things like this before, but every time we've done something like this, the people who are displaced are literally displaced. And so they're not in the squad anymore. They're not in the precinct. And that makes it really difficult to write stories, which also puts a lot of pressure on us to reverse the cliffhanger. So for instance, if Jake and Rosa go to jail, they can't do stories with other people at the 9-9. But what's attractive to us about demoting Holt is that he's in the squad while demoted, and so this change affects everyone, and it affects him with everyone, and it allows him to interact with everyone.
Yeah. Terry, now that your character has been promoted to lieutenant, or Loot, what would you like to see him do next season?
Wow, this is one thing I love about the show, is that every episode, the world changes. You can tell where you are in the whole world of Brooklyn Nine-Nine by where everyone is. I mean, you look at the relationship between you and Chelsea's character, and if you watch that, you're like, oh yeah, that was season 2. You know what I mean? This whole thing about everyone moving up and wanting a goal of moving into another place, I think is necessary, especially in this time of TV where shows have to end. You know, it's kind of crazy, but I remember when like Fantasy Island would go forever, you know what I mean? But when you look at Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and you have to build the suspense, and I think that by giving everyone goals means that we may not be together forever. It's a beautiful place. Listen, I know, I'm a downer right now, but no. I'm here to tell you though, that there's so much more in each one of these characters. This is why the show has fulfilled so many people. When I see Amy's character moving up and on and the dynamic that changes, it's like a beautiful dance. And I can't wait to see, literally can't wait to see what this, because we don't know. I mean, only these two guys on the end know what's gonna happen to us. So it's really, really cool. It's a little scary, but it's cool.
This season also saw, or last season also saw, Jake and Amy have that real heart-to-heart conversation about having children. First of all, what kind of parents do you think that they'll be? And I mean, let's just start there. What kind of parents do you think they'll be? And is that something that you're hoping to see sooner rather than later?
I feel like Jake will be good.
Title of your sex tape.
I don't know that Amy would agree with that 100%. No, she would.
She would.
I
think she would.
Yeah. They both would probably be a little extra. Amy for sure.
But thorough.
Just so thorough.
Yeah. I truly think Jake would be great because of the things that he talks about in that episode where they're discussing whether or not they should, which is he's had such a tumultuous relationship with his own dad that he wants to fix it sort of moving forward by making it a better experience for his own kid.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they'd be sweet parents.
And before you can have a baby, you have to do some kissing.
I don't understand why we need to see Jake and Charles kissing before Jake and Amy have a baby. But I'll do it. I'm in.
You guys have had so many guest stars, especially this last season. Lin-Manuel Miranda, Nicole Byer, Tim Meadows, and Mario Lopez, who could forget. For the cast, who else would you like to see swing by the 9-9, and what role would they have? Who would they play?
What's the question? Who your dream guest star would be? Joel, who's your dream guest star?
Sting.
Not what I expected.
Yeah.
Zero hesitation.
You'd
been thinking about that. Was sitting there this whole time going, please ask me about the guest star.
Man, I hope I can say Sting.
My wife says I remind her of Sting.
That's so tight. I see it.
Dirk?
Oh, I think I've pitched this before, but I think Jack Nicholson would fit really well with the Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Jack Nicholson, Sting.
Preetzi's Honor. Check out Preetzi's Honor. He is so friggin' funny in that thing.
Look, I'm going to come out and just say Mark Hamill.
Yes.
I'd like to see Mr. Mark Hamill. I know I would love to see him play a villain, but if he plays an ice cream man, I'd be happy. And so would Boyle. But that would be my pick.
I second that. I'm just on the Mark Hamill thing.
Mark
with
Hamill.
him. Definitely Mark Hamill.
I always say Amy Poehler, but I don't know if I'd be able to say any of my lines. So if you ever write that, if she ever comes, just have me in the scene staring at her. Thanks.
I mean, for me, I guess it would just be such an honor and a thrill if, like, Andre or Stephanie showed the up for a change.
Yeah!
I'm kidding!
We love them!
Love them! I needed a joke.
Wow!
Bruce Willis, obviously.
Can we just start start, we were talking about this earlier, a Twitter campaign. What was the hashtag we came up with?
BeWilly99?
Yeah, BeWilly99.
Yes.
And I think we can make this happen with public pressure.
Yes.
We have no idea if he's even aware of his legacy on this show.
Very doubtful.
But
Or he
if we
knows-
make it a big enough thing, then people will have to, he'll have to like respond.
Shame him.
Yes. Let's shame him onto the show, you guys. We can do this.
He strikes me as the type that would be into that. I'm not going to get punched at some event for it.
Dan, I think you have a guest star announcement.
Vanessa Bayer, I think, will be on the show this year, who's very funny and super great. And we're going to do, hopefully, a little mini arc with her. And obviously, Sting. We'll have Sting.
Yeah.
Playing Joel's twin brother.
Yeah.
We're going to do audience questions in a minute, so if you want to line up, we're going to get to that in just a second. But, looking ahead, Luke, what's still on the show's bucket list that you'd really like to see that you'd like to do next?
What's on the show's bucket list? We've been talking forever, for 4 years now, about Holt and Kevin's vow renewal ceremony. We talk about it every year, and then we don't get around to it, and I really would like to. Mark Evan Jackson reminds us about it every chance he can.
He does.
I think at this point we're not doing it just because he's.
He calls in the middle of the night. It's weird. Is there anything else on the bucket list for you guys?
I mean, what was the question? I don't have a bucket list.
Oh, you got to get a bucket list.
I do?
Yeah, that's a thing people do.
I remember at the end of season 1, we had a bunch of ideas written up on the board, just general ideas, and we got through all of them in season 1. We ran through everything except for 2, and one said Charles does devil sticks, and we got to that, and the other said Jake loves honey mustard, and I don't know exactly how we'll work that in, but I feel like if we could get to it, it would be.
I always
great.
thought it would be funny if Charles took up pole dancing for exercise class and broke his.
I'm in. I'm in. I'll do it.
That's actually very good.
I'd actually like to see, have a flashback of the first time Charles and Jake meet.
That's good. I want to see that.
Yeah, when Chucky met Jakey.
What was the episode title?
When Chucky met Jakey.
Right. There you go. It's half written. Do you think they would like each other right off the bat?
I think yes, for Boyle.
Love at first sight.
Yeah. Love it. For Jake, I don't know.
What song do you think would be playing in Boyle's mind when he first saw Jake?
The Wind Beneath My Wings.
I think so too.
Sung by Sting.
Oh. Or just Joel, who would be able to tell the difference.
That's true. That's true.
Every breath you take is pretty much, yeah.
We're going to take our first question from the audience. While the cast would love to take hugs and selfies with everyone, let's please limit that and not do that at all, okay? They sent all their hugs and all their selfies, but let's stick to questions.
Hi, I'm Ethan. I really enjoy your show. I like to watch it at home with my mom and dad. And my question is that, how do you guys feel about the original Cheddar and his sister playing in the show, like in the Halloween Heights? And is there a big change in their performance?
You guys can speak to that more. I think the original Cheddar and his sister both did an excellent job. I think you guys are on set more with them.
I can't speak to it because we won't be on set together at the same time because we used to date and we don't talk to each other.
So awkward.
It's very uncomfortable. He dated both the original Cheddar and the sister.
Yeah.
No, obviously the elephant in the room is that the original Cheddar passed away, which we're all very sad about. But after 13 years of life, which is 91 years in dog years. So, did great.
Yeah. And his sister's great.
Yeah. I mean, it's a bummer.
Young man, thank you for watching the show.
Yeah.
We appreciate you and your question.
Hi, my name is Madison.
Hi.
Hi. So I want to ask Terry, what is your favorite flavor of yogurt?
Oh. It's serious business now. Serious business. Now, on the show, they wrote mango. And it was discontinued. But in real life, my favorite flavor, what? Strawberry. I know.
Flabbergasted.
I'm sorry.
What did he say?
Strawberry.
Strawberry fruit on the bottom.
could've guessed
Strawberry fruit on the bottom.
Wow.
Oh.
Not the Greek stuff.
You like to stir?
Full fat fruit on the bottom.
You're a wild
Usually in the glass jars. You know those little special ones you get from the real, like, I'm sorry. No, I love yogurt. I do, really do. It's awesome. Thank you.
Great question. Thank you.
That was a great question.
Hi guys, my name's Katie. I love your show. Oh, I just have a two-part question, very quick. One, are we ever going to see a Lonely Island Together cameo?
Oh! Yes!
Well, Keith and Yorm have both been on the show.
But as the
It would-
Lonely Island?
We'd have to get Yorm's weirdo mini golf arcade character from Florida to come to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And Akiva's blind guy?
No, no depth perception.
No depth perception guy.
Because you shot him in the face.
On accident. All in the same place. And then I assume rapping. So I'm going to give you a definite maybe.
And my second...
Think about what you did, Andre. Stand back there.
Hi, I'm Gio. I actually did a survey for all this panel to see who was like here for everything. I got bored in line, so it was Brooklyn Nine-Nine was like in the top 3, so that's awesome, and I love you guys a lot. But my question is, are we gonna see more from like Rosa and like her secret life and everything? That's all the apartments and everything.
That's a great question.
Yeah, no,
yeah.
I'm aware of the character of Rosa.
Her many pursuits.
Yeah, I think we might see more, but this is an ongoing debate. I think you raise a good question, because I think seeing some is good. I kind of feel like the fantasy of her life may be more fun and funnier than the reality to some extent, and so I think it's a balancing act. But it's definitely an issue in the writer's room, a contentious one. Thank you for your question. It's a great question.
Hi. My name's Angela. Lonely Island concert in New York was amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah. My
It's
question.
my fake rap group, you guys.
Yeah. The pervert Jake and Kevin are it's like my favorite disguise. I was wondering if you guys had your favorite disguise in the show.
A favorite what, guys?
What?
Which guy? Disguise. Man, that one was good. I feel like Jake and Charles were longshoremen for one shot once.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was pretty funny.
That was a cold open. That was funny.
Uh-huh.
Remember we had our smiles painted on and came in, that was in disguise as we were walking in the deal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
It was kind of like,
The Parnell episode where he's doing coke in the bathroom.
yeah.
Skyfire? You guys were great in Skyfire disguises.
Skyfire.
Oh.
What?
Skyfire?
What? When did you put that on?
Like a year ago.
What? You're just waiting for this?
Yeah, for this moment.
You had that on the whole time?
It was worth it for the year.
I love the first Pontiac Bandit when you're in the white suit. You walk out in slow-mo.
Like
His dad's suit, right?
You look like a
Boys to Men Christmas album.
Yeah.
Is Stephanie's line, right?
Yeah.
But it's set to Mama Said Knock You Out, maybe?
Yeah, I think
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi.
Hi.
This question is for Terry, because Terry is my favorite. I love all of you, but Terry's my favorite.
No, that's great. That's good. I'm glad we flew down.
Don't do that with your kids ever.
Other than the yogurt, what is other than the yogurt thing? What is personality or a characteristic that is definitely not Terry Crews, but is definitely Sergeant Terry?
Wow. Let's see. That's a deep one because it's all me. I ain't gonna lie. It's very. They taken every part of my life and put it in the show. Thank you.
You get paid for it.
You know what?
Does Terry Crews wear suspenders?
Yeah. No, I don't wear suspenders. That is a really good one. I have never worn suspenders until this show, and there it is. That was, man, he had to answer it.
And Terry, I have to ask, are you a cop? Because if so, you've been narking.
Well, I'm a snitch, so, you know.
You a cop?
That question was so good. Can she get a sweatsuit?
All right.
And we're going to give away a sweat. We got to give her one of these suits. Thank you. That was a brilliant question. I'm sorry. I'm giving stuff away. I'm giving things away here. I'm crazy. Oh, hey,
What
hey,
is
hey.
happening? I don't know what's under there. What are you doing to Rosa?
It's anatomically
She sent such a beautiful video.
Oh, yeah, she's cool. Yeah, there she is.
Oh, it's Rosa.
There you go. Yes, we're giving things away. That's how we doing a 9-9. I'm drunk with power right now.
We have time for one more question.
Hi, a lot of pressure.
But look at this.
Oh my God.
Oh, it was going to be a cheddar question, but that already happened. So I had to kind of think on the fly. First, thank you guys. You actually threw my son's bar mitzvah, but you might not remember that from episode 5. So thank you for that. But my question, I guess, would be, obviously, Stuart, the corgi passed. Do you guys have did you learn anything about corgis from working with them on set, maybe? You guys had a whole episode dedicated to one of the various cheddars.
They hold romantic grudges, apparently.
I just don't want to be on the set.
You refuse to say what happened. That's all I'm saying.
You don't want to know. Did you learn anything about corgis, Dan?
I learned that they're a great dog. They're beautiful, beloved, wonderful. Look at them. Heavy, they're heavy. What else?
Oh, yeah, Terry.
Is there anything else you learned about them? There are 2 corgis down here for all of you who can't see them, and they're very cute.
They're very cute.
And apparently Terry's a cop!
Have you done something illegal?
Yeah, what did you do?
What the hell did you do?
Was that a confession?
No.
What did you do?
That is a legally binding confession.
Well, that is sadly all the time that we have tonight. But before we go, we have a little treat for you guys.
Wait, can we say one thing? We just want to say thank you to all of you. You guys are the best fans in the world. We need it. We love you so